You know, when something's like in the sun for too long, it's bleached by the sun, so it loses its vibrancy, it loses its color. Hi, I'm Cleo Luna June, and I'm gonna be telling you guys about my song, Sunbleached Flowers. Sunbleached flowers, August scour, forever pulling the card of towers, feeling like I just lost my power. I wrote the song when I was 16. I was in Victoria. I was sitting in the back seat and one of my aunts had this bag and there were these flowers that were sticking out of it. And I noticed how they were devoid of color because, you know, when something's like in the sun for too long, it's bleached by the sun, so it loses its vibrancy, it loses its color. And so that's where I got the inspiration for Sunbleached Flowers, because when I was staring at these flowers, I just really connected for some reason. Forever pulling the cards of towers, feeling like I just lost my power. I just felt like the whole world was falling apart. I felt very misunderstood. I still feel that way. But now, like, I've accepted that. But like at the time, like I was very confused. That line comes from, I was doing all these tarot card readings because I love doing tarot card readings. I just kept pulling out the card of towers, which we have this thing called like the tower moment, which represents destruction, falling apart, and pulling through, finding the truth. How could the world crumble down? No humbleness can save me now. I've always been a very bold girl, and that was always something I was told, that I was like too bossy, too demanding. Those are just words that are used to describe women who are just strong and they have a backbone. And those are things that are leadership qualities, you know, in a young girl. Like, stay humble, be humble. And that's like definitely a message that a lot of people are fed, which, you know, to each their own. I think in the context of this song, and especially since there is such a strong feminist message, I just think that humbleness sold to women is such a fucking lie. It's such a myth, and it's just another thing to keep women small and to not be proud of who they are. Everywhere I go, illuminated signs on the highways, journaling in the aisles of London drugs, whatever mishaps and adventures that come. I remember walking into London drugs and I just remember sobbing. I was just like writing out everything that was plaguing me, all like the stress and like just the pressure. What the fuck is happening to the world? It's lit like this feels so apocalyptic. Whatever mishaps and adventures that come. It's almost like a message also to myself too, where it's like life is gonna be twists and turns. There are going to be a lot of adventures, a lot of mishaps, a lot of really great blessings, but also a lot of really hard moments as well. It's just like a message like, yeah, it is what it is. And it's just one of those things where it's like you just have to welcome it because, you know, when the good moments come, it just makes it that much sweeter. In my hands, I have the sunbleached flowers. Sunbleached flowers. She used to be so fresh and beaming with color. Fallen petals and sun-dried stature. There's nothing that could patch her. The song is about burnout, honestly, and especially if you were like a really high achieving kid like I was, you just hit a point in your life where you're like, you just feel so defeated and you feel so stripped and so barren. Fallen petals and sun-dried stature, there's nothing that could patch her. That line, like especially if you've gone through certain events that completely change you, you're past the point of no return. Like you're just forever cellularly changed. I think for a lot of women, we hit this point where the way you view the world and the way that the world views you, like it's not going to look at you the same way again. When you look at the maiden, mother, crone archetype, the world loves maidens. They love the ingenue. They love girls who are young that they can shape into whoever they want her to be. As a young girl, I've always been very excited to be an older woman. I've always been excited to really grow in my womanhood. I just had this moment where I was like, none of this stuff is cracked up to what it's supposed to be. And it was like this disappointment because it's like this truth is sinking in. She used to be so fresh and beaming with color. This myth of like being like untainted, which is so wrong and so problematic. Unfortunately, it's like a lot of people still believe that. The polarity of being a beautiful rose with fickle thorns. Death and being reborn. I was a beautiful walking corpse. If only they knew what it takes to be tied together with a smile, hoping it'll be long enough to fool them for a while. It's that growing pressure of, in order for us to be loved, in order for us to be accepted, we always have to transform. We always have to kill old versions of ourselves. As soon as it doesn't serve the people anymore, boom, we gotta change. It's the myth of effortlessness. The flip side is that like, we actually care a lot and we actually try really hard, and sometimes we have to try harder to look like we're not trying hard than for us to actually try hard. I was a beautiful walking corpse. Like, it's such a weighted line. You could be a corpse. You could be a shell of a person you used to be, and people will not realize that, and they will not see just the agony and the conflict and the war that you have within yourself. It's so fucking hard to be a girl these days. It's like everything is a threat to your existence. You used to be the fantasy, pageant queen specimen, fictional girl who lives in your head, immortalized and mortified in resin, always feeling less than. So, the bridge of this song, especially if you've had like unwanted attention from men and like who they think I am, like in their head, and how that like deeply affected my psyche growing up. You're like, hey man, like this is really weird and uncomfortable, and you know, and they start treating you differently because, you know, that's all they ever wanted from you, and you're like, ow. If I could help one girl out from this video, like, let it be this. I need you to be the strongest and loudest version of who you are, and to be confident and bold in like whatever you stand for. I think women are goddesses. They're like an oasis of knowledge and experience, and I just wish that the world would treat us with such respect and let us have human rights. In my hands I have the sunbleached flowers, sunbleached flowers.